The voicemail I almost deleted is the reason my mother is still alive. It came in at 2:17 a.m., while my phone was on silent and buried under a pile of laundry. I didn't even notice it until late afternoon the next day, when I was clearing notifications and saw a transcription preview. "Hey, it's Mom. Call me when you wake up. No rush." Nothing about it sounded urgent, but something felt off. My mom never called that late unless it was important, and even then she usually followed it with a text full of capital letters. I hit play. Her voice was calm. Too calm. "Hi, sweetheart. I know you're probably asleep. I just wanted to hear your voice, but it's okay if you can't call back right away. I made your favorite soup today. The one you always asked for when you were sick. Funny how quiet the house is when it's just me." There was a pause, followed by a soft exhale. "I'm just very tired. Anyway, don't worry about me. I love you more than anything." The message ended there. No drama. No explanation. But the way she said, "Don't worry about me," made my stomach drop. Most people might hear that voicemail and think it was just a lonely parent missing their kid. I knew better. My mom wasn't the type to talk about feelings directly. She buried them under routines. Cooking too much food, reorganizing closets, sending me home with containers I never finished. If she was calling at 2 a.m. just to say she loved me, something wasn't right. I called her immediately. It went straight to voicemail. I tried again, same result. That's when the uneasiness really started to creep in. I told myself not to panic. Maybe she forgot to charge her phone. Maybe she stepped out. Maybe she was in the garden. But a quiet thought kept returning. I should go check on her now. She lived about 40 minutes away. I don't even remember grabbing my keys. Just the sound of my heartbeat and the way every red light suddenly felt personal. During the drive, memories kept surfacing. My mom waving from the porch when I left for college. Pretending not to cry at my graduation. Always saying, "Call me when you get home," even when home was only 10 minutes away. Then a realization hit me. I couldn't remember the last time I had visited without checking the clock. That thought sat heavy in my chest as I pulled into her neighborhood. The house looked normal. Curtains open. Nothing unusual. But her car was still in the driveway. And the porch light was on. In the middle of the day. My chest tightened. I knocked and waited. Nothing. I knocked again, louder this time. Still nothing. I tried the handle, locked. That's when I noticed a faint smell. Not overwhelming, but enough to make my stomach tighten. Something wasn't right. My hands started shaking as I called 911. While waiting for the dispatcher, I circled the house and found the kitchen window slightly open. I shouted her name once, twice, louder each time. No response. Those 7 minutes felt longer than entire years of my life. When the officers arrived, they forced the door. As it opened, the smell became impossible to ignore. One of the officers muttered it almost immediately. "Gas." He rushed toward the kitchen while another told me to stay outside. But I couldn't move. Then I heard it. "Ma'am, can you hear me?" A chair scraped. Footsteps. And then, "We've got her. She's breathing." My knees nearly gave out. They found her sitting at the kitchen table, slumped forward like she had simply fallen asleep. The stove was on but unlit, quietly filling the house. Later, at the hospital, the doctor told me another hour, maybe less, and it would have been too late. When I was finally allowed to see her, she looked impossibly small in that hospital bed. Her eyes fluttered open when I walked in. For a moment, she seemed confused. Then she saw me, and her face crumpled. "I didn't think you'd hear it," she whispered. I pulled my chair closer and grabbed her hand. "Hear what?" "The voicemail." My throat tightened. "Mom, what happened?" She stared at the blanket for a long moment before speaking. "After your father passed, the house got very loud with silence. At first I stayed busy, paperwork, repairs, learning how to live alone. But when all of that was done, I realized most days, the only voice I heard was my own." I squeezed her hand. "You could have told me." She gave a faint smile. "You were building your life. I didn't want my loneliness to become your responsibility." After a long pause, she continued. "Last night I tried making dinner, but I couldn't even remember why I bothered. I wasn't hungry. I wasn't expecting anyone. And I kept thinking, if I disappeared, how long would it take for someone to notice?" The words hit like ice water. "I went to bed," she said softly. But the quiet felt heavier than usual. So I got up, sat at the table, and thought maybe it was time to rest. My eyes burned. "I wasn't brave enough to leave a note," she admitted. "So I called you instead." I told myself if you picked up, I'd hang up and pretend it was nothing. My voice broke. I'm so sorry I missed it. She shook her head weakly. You didn't. You came. We sat there in silence, the kind that says more than conversation ever could. After a while she whispered, when I heard the door and all the noise, I remember feeling disappointed for half a second. That sentence shattered me. But then, she continued, turning toward me, I heard you yelling my name, and I realized something. What? That even when the house is quiet, my life isn't. From that day forward, things changed not dramatically, but in small, steady ways that mattered more. We started having Sunday breakfasts. No excuses. I called her during ordinary moments. Grocery runs, traffic jams, nothing conversations that quietly say I'm here. She joined a walking group, then a book club. Slowly, her calendar began to fill again. A few months later, she handed me a folded piece of paper. A list, she said. Of what? Reasons I'm still here. At the top, in her careful handwriting, it read, because my child still says, love you, before hanging up. On the drive home that night, I kept thinking about how close I came to ignoring that voicemail. How easily it could have been just another notification cleared without a second thought. And I realized something I wish more people understood. Sometimes the messages that sound the most ordinary are the ones quietly asking to be heard.